Has it stopped raining yet? I hope that in here we have a roof that doesn't leak. What a thrill. How exciting to be here. For those of you who don't recognize the shirt, it's been 3 years since last time. I hope you're well fed. I know the seafood here is amazing, but please don't neglect the cakes. I used to work with a guy from Portugal, and he used to bring these beautiful big boxes of spectacular sweetmeats, and definitely get a chance to try that. So we're running to a schedule, and we're going to jump straight into the next session, and a braver man than I would try and memorize this, but I am not this guy. So reading from my notes, I would like to introduce you, I hope you're sitting in the right place, for the evolution of technology in immersive experiences, because we're all about technology and we're all about immersive these days, so that's exciting. Now, I'm going to welcome on stage very shortly Virgile, who is the co-founder of VR Future, an Istanbul-based company that aims to bridge NFTs and VR by producing AR, VR content with a tokenomic around it and educating, onboarding the Web3 space into VR and vice versa, the XR industry into Web3. So I'm very much looking forward to learning a lot about Web3. I know it's the next hot thing, and this is the man to do it. Virgile, thank you very much.
Thank you for having us. Quietly.
Oh, I didn't.
Good morning. Good morning, good day everyone, or even good evening in a decentralized world. A very warm welcome to this panel, the first panel of the day on the main stage. I hope you are all having a good day, very productive, and also a dry day within this amazing shelter of AWE. This is a panel today about the evolution of technology within immersive experiences, and what a panel. What an explosive cocktail of brilliant speakers on my left-hand side. We are talking about the access to those immersive experiences. We are going to talk also about use cases of new technology integration within those experiences, and also the very debated impact of Web3 and tokenomics on those experiences. And let's start, if you may, with the presentation round. Hello, Yingzi, how are you doing?
Great, great. Thank you, Virgile, and happy to be in Lisbon again.
Thank you for being with us. You just won the Web3 Women Award, given by the Women in Tech Global Movement. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And you also organize a very... You also organize a very successful international event called Metaverse Summit in Paris, where you invited lots of partners and lots of speakers that you can see again. So how is the feeling and how is the vibes and the transition after Paris, being here with so many speakers and with so many sponsors and partners that you had invited in Paris?
Yeah, it was such an amazing experience to actually bring on board not only people in XR, but also gaming and blockchain, to bring on the same table different profiles so that they can learn and share and build the future of an open and decentralized metaverse together. So it's such a new topic for everybody. Everyone is learning things. As we mentioned in the backstage, I guess the ambience and the passion is what makes, I guess, the Metaverse Summit successful, and we're going to continue doing that.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us. It's a great pleasure to have you on that panel. And we have also another brilliant, iconic figure within the XR storytelling sector. This is Liz Rosenthal. Hello, Liz. How are you doing?
Hello. Thank you so much for inviting me to be on this panel. It's my first AWE, so I'm super excited to hear the panels and walk through the expo and see the new tech.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us. Liz, you are an iconic figure, of course, but you're also organizing the Biennale, the Venice Immersive, which is a virtual reality section of the Venice International Film Festival happening in Italy. You just created that. You are the creator. You are the co-programmer. You have been selecting 30 films in competition, but this is also 10 films out of competition and even 3 films from the Biennale College Cinema. But there are as well lots of virtual worlds, including VR chat. So how is the feeling after that amazing Biennale, and how is also the feeling to be back to your virtual island, which is physically somewhere this time. This is not totally virtual. And could you please tell us a little bit some words about this magical event?
Sure. So we've just finished our sixth edition of Venice Immersive, which we launched in 2017. And it's the competition and official selection of immersive content. So we're showing all types of immersive content across the whole XR spectrum in the Venice International Film Festival, which is run by the Biennale. That's one of the most important cultural organizations in the world. So the Biennale has the Art Biennale, the Architecture Biennale, the Film Festival, and Performing Arts Biennale. And what's really special is the fact that Venice Film Festival is one of the big A-list film festivals, and we are seeing XR storytelling and creative work and entertainment work in line with cinema. And that's really important because I think up till now, XR's been seen as a technology demo or something that sits in trade fairs and not something that's a true art and entertainment form. So we're very excited we were back. You mentioned it was our first in real life edition. We're very lucky we have an amazing venue, an island, which is off the Lido Island in Venice. And it ironically used to be a plague quarantine island, though we weren't allowed to use it during the pandemic. And we had two big virtual editions where we really experimented with social VR, where we held the festival in VR chat and published the works that we selected online. This is our first time we were back, so we were excited we could show the full spectrum of work. So we show work from 360, mixed reality, installations, worlds, social VR, and performance pieces.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Very inspiring and looking forward for the next edition. I know you are currently preparing the Red Sea Festival. We're going to talk about that. And last but not least, Guillaume Brunet, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Virgile.
Thank you for being with us. You are the head of Web3 and XR at the Orange Telecom company, already present in most of European countries and also in most of African and Middle East countries. You are creating XR content. You have an XR program over there. You are also producing VR film. This is the case of Evolver, which was premiered in New York at the Tribeca Festival. We had the chance to take our NFT holders over there. Thank you. And so could you please tell us a little bit about what you are doing regarding these XR projects within Orange Company, please?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much, Virgile. I'm very glad to be here with you today. I'm part of the Orange Innovation Corporation, okay? So we have a few departments, and we give support to the countries of Orange. So you mentioned that we have 23 countries around the world. So mainly France is the first turnover. Then we have Spain as a second market. Then we also have the French-speaking countries in Africa. And we have all the Eastern Europe countries, mainly Eastern Europe countries, such as Moldavia, Poland, and other countries. So what we do basically in Orange Innovation is to use the XR topic, so all the topics related to mixed reality, augmented reality, virtual reality, of course. And we do have an application, okay, a cross-device available. So I would say on a mobile phone, but also on VR headsets. So what we can do is to promote content, and we license content every year in documentary, animation, TV shows, spin-off of existing movies. And it's like an entrance door to other contents, much more ambitious, I would say, and interaction such as social. You mentioned social, Liz. So I think that what we do is like avatars. We want to work on co-watching as well, content. And we did recently in Spain, concretely, a project of the first Orange virtual store, which is a copy of existing shops in Madrid, in Puerta del Sol. And what we do there in AltSpace, Microsoft Metaverse, is an experience of shopping, virtual shopping. So you can test 3D assets, mobile phones, tablets, all the products that we subsidize with device manufacturers, and you can buy it, you can test it directly in the Metaverse. You also can have auditorium conferences, such as these conferences. We could do it in Metaverse, in our store. And we also do games, basically there.
Thank you. Thank you, Guillaume, for being with us. Thank you, all of you, for joining this amazing panel. And let's start moving a little bit further and talk about the access to immersive experiences. Because as you know, our digital identity is slowly taking more and more importance compared to the real life one. And also on the, we can also discuss about the fact that a recent report from McKinsey was explaining we are going to spend about 4 to 5 hours per day in the metaverse. That's one side of the thing. But on the other hand, you all know, like further to the articles of Verge and the CoinDesk, there was a kind of drop of active users in the big platform called the Decentraland Sandbox, as you know. But of course, these statuses of active users we were discussing with Liz this morning are a big debate. So, like Liz, you have been doing the curation thing almost 7 years now. You have been also working not only for the Biennale, but also for the Red Sea Festival in Saudi Arabia. You are as well the CEO of Power to the Pixel. So you have, let's say, 7 years of a very broad overview of access to immersive experiences. How do you see those immersive experiences within the general public mind? And how do you see this evolution of public access to those immersive experiences throughout the past years?
So I think a lot of us know that XR, VR, MR, AR are complex concepts for general consumers and audiences. And when it comes to VR, which we mostly have shown, and a lot of the projects I've been involved in as an executive producer, because I'm also I've developed a lot of programs in the past where there's a program called Creative XR where we finance prototypes and develop and gave finance for productions of immersive experiences, and also help with the mentoring of the development. So it's kind of interesting thinking that for most experiences, distribution is what's really tough. So access is a difficult thing for the consumer when it comes especially to projects that are on spatial devices like VR, or we know mixed reality headsets are not really in the hands of consumers yet. So location-based entertainment was super important to introduce consumers generally who are not the kind of enthusiasts who are going to go and buy new tech. So when the pandemic happened, obviously that was a huge blow to the industry because whether you were setting up location-based entertainment venues like Dreamscape in LA, or the venues in Paris, like at the Forum des Images, or in London we had several venues as well that were showing artistic experiences, it was a real blow because we had to start reaching people online. And I saw the most amazing creativity, because in this environment, what's amazing is the people working there are very fast at iterating and inventing. And so what I saw was people morphing into things that would work at home. So we had some projects that were developed in Creative XR that were really amazing AR projects, where there was a collectible, like a beautiful pop-up book that you develop with an AR piece that was something beyond it just being on a phone, that made it something experiential. And then, of course, when it came to social VR, that drew so many people. The pandemic encouraged, obviously, the use of VR, and it drew so many people into social VR platforms. And my platform of choice was, or is, VR Chat. And I amazed myself. I never would have imagined pre-March 2020 that I would spend several hours, sometimes every day, world hopping, being with amazing people, having incredibly profound conversations and not profound conversations, entertaining experiences for hours in my headset. So I think that was, and I met so many people who entered into VR. Most of the people I was with were in headsets, but then others were on desktops. And obviously each of the platforms, the social VR platforms, which I know a lot of people are using the word Metaverse, which I'm going to resist in this panel, access in different ways. Some people on their desktops, some people on their mobiles, and obviously as a true spatial experience, being in a headset is amazing. But that leads me to the other thing that I think what's important when you're developing a project, and we were just having this conversation before about Evolver, is that you've got to think about cross-technology and developing projects that exist in different formats. So location-based entertainment, I'm so glad to see there's been an amazing rise in really interesting and new venues that have huge screens and all kinds of technical capabilities that we didn't have before the pandemic. So there was one, for example, that launched in London last week called the Outernet, which has the largest LED screens in the world, which is incredible high resolution. And there are other companies like Cosm who are developing LED domes. And we're going to start seeing people have out of headset immersive experiences soon. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the at-home, the social side of it at home, but I'm also excited about these new venues and also about the idea that you can develop projects in mind of them being in headset, out of headset, and across different platforms.
Thank you. Thank you for the insight. Very interesting. It raises also the question of inclusion, of course. And Yingzi, you've been working for Vivendi during 4 years as innovation strategist. And you are also working for Ubisoft, right, as a strategic analyst and open innovation project manager. So how do you see this this question of the inclusion within the current situation of the metaverse, and how do you think it can reshape the equity concept, or it would be more a mirror of our real life situation?
Yeah, definitely. So totally agree with what Liz said. Diversifying, the content and put location-based VR everywhere. But also, in another point of view, we can also think about the developers and entrepreneurs and the content producers, meaning that only if we diversify the creator profile and the accessibilities of the different types of technology, either hardware or software, thinking about, by design, the infrastructure level of the technology, so that in the later down the road, we can actually have more diversified UX or content creation or different types of product. So during my journey in Ubisoft, so I was working with the incubator. We actually got in touch with a lot of startups who are working with very diverse social impact projects like VR, AR, XR project. They, for instance, design games specifically for autistic children or for dyslexia or for ADHD, attentional trouble. So these gamified experiences can actually help those children who are in lack of real medical treatment in real world to help their parents also to have amazing tooling for them to train their brain in a very, very early stage. That is very, very important for the neurodiverse crowd. However, it's also a reality that this kind of project, because the market is so niche, and because the investment, they chase also one day of beautiful exit. So they are lacking of sufficient funding. We need to also think about how can we fund this early stage technology? How can we diversify the investment so that our audience can be accessible, can be inclusive as well? So another topic, of course, is inclusion of technology of different genders, different countries, either developed country or underdeveloped country. So when we are talking about XR and Metaverse, we take it for granted that everybody has access to internet, even electricity. However, the world is not perfect yet. So there are some innovations, like micro innovations, where, for instance, there's this minimalistic smartphone that people can actually do transaction. And based on this kind of small innovation, we can imagine all these kind of use cases to include not only people in developed countries, but also geographically the whole world, hopefully.
Yes, hopefully. Sounds pretty promising. Thank you so much for those insights. And when we talk about access, we think also about interoperability, right? And Guillaume, I know that Orange is part of the Metaverse Standard Forum initiative, which aims to foster interoperability for a more open and a more inclusive metaverse for everyone. Is this notion of interoperability important for you and your objectives, and why is it so important?
Yes, it's a very good question. And to make the link to what Yingzi said, I think interoperability is going to be the key for the Web3. Let's say that interoperability allows us to make the capacity to go to one world to another. And as a mobile and global telecommunication operator, as Orange, this is our mission to our customers to give the best connectivity and to give the best access to network, to bandwidth, to fiber, to 5G upcoming. And the interoperability allows, or is a key of that, is a turning point of the fact that we are going to have more and more 3D scenes. We are going to have more and more assets to load at the same time, simultaneity. So what do we need is to be in capacity to calculate all that. So interoperability is the same way to say that we are going to be expensive in terms of usage of devices. We are already very let's say, in smartphone usage massive, but with the next headsets, and we are going to talk about that later, I think the usage is going to be the key, and we need to calculate more and more 3D scenes at the same time. And interoperability is the key for that. And coming back to the topic of inclusiveness, I think it's also something very important and key in terms of the responsibility that we have as an operator. We are like a key operator in terms of trust operator. And what we want to make feel to our users is to be comfortable with the universe where they are and to be in security. We mentioned the blockchain. I think blockchain is a way to have more security, for example, in our environments. Not only the blockchain, but I think it's something that we can work on, okay, as an operator. And also the fight against what we call the cyberbullying, for example, which is also in our missions. And of course, the respect of the climate. And with all the devices coming and very, I would say, exploding, we have to be very responsible on what we give to the customers in terms of usage and in terms of devices.
Yes, that's true. And let's a little bit advance on that question of this technology evolution and see a little bit and talk a little bit about the usage of evolution of that technology integration within immersive experiences. And of course, before we go a little bit too much into the abstract and we dilute ourselves into some virtual identities, let's stick to something very concrete and let's talk a little bit about the hardware, if we may. To mention a few, we had this morning a very interesting keynote about Pico, but of course there was a recent MetaQuest Pro released. And we are waiting also for the PS VR2 in January that would have a mid-air haptic solution. So that's also something very interesting to come forward. And Guillaume, you're working for Orange as a consultant, as an advisor. You have a very wide overview of all kinds of equipment. How do you see the evolution of hardware affecting those immersive experiences?
I mean, hardware is one of the layers of the Web3, clearly. And I think it's going to be the trigger of the massive usage for this Web3. Today, VR, to give you a number, it's 11 million of headsets sold in the world in 2021, whereas smartphones are 1.5 billion. Of course, it's not the same market, it's not the same usage, but it's 150 times higher than the VR headset. So I think that with the mixed reality, we are going to have the usage. I'm not the only one to think about that, of course. I do have these glasses, which are the Ray-Ban Stories partnership with Meta. I think we are in a minimalist approach for now, and we are going to move into a maximalist approach. The minimalist is good. I mean, the product is very good. I can record, I can make some pictures, and it's a companion to my mobile phone, so it's okay. But I think with the mixed reality, I will be with you, everybody, but I will have interaction with virtual assets. And it's all about the Web3. Web3 is a transition to the Web2, which is only consultation and share sharing information, and the Web3 is going to be all that, plus the fact to own, let's say, digital assets, numeric assets. I would say cryptocurrency, and even blockchain. I think it will be there. Personal opinion. NFTs, of course, and all of that is going to be a world where we are going to be able to do what we do today with our smartphones, but in a much deeper way, and very smooth, very, I would say, social accepted, because the Oculus Quest 2 or the Pico headsets that we use today in VR, you cannot go in the street with that by definition. So what we need to do is to come from a minimalist approach to a maximalist approach, but there are still challenges for that. And the challenge, I would say that they are in engineering and connectivity. So as operator, we need to work on that, on the connectivity aspect, but we also need to work on the engineering aspect. Because the engineering aspect makes that you cannot process so many things in such a small headset. So we have all this challenge coming with the miniaturization that other business has, for example, as electronic cars, or electric cars, sorry. So what we need to do is like to miniaturize the process and to have many things inside a small space, okay? And for that, it requires a lot of challenge in terms of radio frequency, cameras, processing 3D assets inside the glasses, and we are still in a starting way.
Right, and you also mentioned at the beginning, before the maximalist approach, this importance and this trend of mixed reality. And so, Yingzi, you worked for Ubisoft, as you said before. Do you also envision that our equipment are going more and more into the direction of mixed reality, and how do you see that?
Yeah, sure. Regarding like the hardware part, I think there are some amazing R&D projects and some research papers, some prototypes that are proving to us that the future can be, there very soon. But we are also facing, the market, meaning that we need to have cost-efficient enough mass market so that they can actually produce this kind of device in a certain amount, so that it can be the return of the investment can be good, right? So. I would say, of course, the future will be, there with highly advanced hardware, potentially either, let's say, glasses or even better human-machine interface that are more seamless than what we can actually imagine today, right? So that is going to be, the interface part. But at the same time, with all these different kinds of interactive format, people are actually looking for socialization, looking for content, looking for storytelling. So with the development of hardware, we are also trying to explore new way of storytelling, new way of connecting people. So both ways are advancing together. One depends on the other, of course. So at the same time, content creator and hardware producer, they are working like more and more in convergence, actually. Before they were more separated. You have this B2B use case as of the state of art of Meta new Pro device and the Pico device. We still see the market state of art of the market now is B2B because of the high price of the devices as well. But sooner or later, when they can achieve the point of return of investment for mass market, and it's light enough, the user interface is good enough, we can go do the storytelling for everybody, I hope.
Yes, that's where we go into storytelling. And Liz, talking about storytelling, let's come back to you. Because in Jeddah or in Venice, you are selecting, of course, VR films, but it's not only the case. You are also selecting VR dance, VR theater performances. You are selecting also immersive concerts and even virtual worlds, mainly in VR chats. We were talking this morning, it's about 32 worlds that you have selected this year. So, can you a little bit describe this selection since 7 years, what you have been selecting, like beside those VR films, and how do you see those evolution?
absolutely. So it's funny you use the word VR film, because I never use the word film. Just to, I was saying there all these acronyms, I generally talk about experiences, because it's very hard to differentiate these different things, and I think it confuses the audience, because a lot of our projects that we showed this year were on Quest this year, and you can see a 360 project on a Quest, or you can see a multiplayer theatrical performances with real actors in the space and haptic devices on a Quest. So I use the word experience. So at Venice, we've been trying to represent and showcase excellence across all the different XR formats. And many people say, 360 video, it's going to be dead. It's not VR. And it's amazing every year how, just to start with 360, because that's the kind of first VR that a lot of audiences saw. We had our grand jury prize, Lion. We have 3 awards in Venice. Went to a 360 project, The Man That Couldn't Leave from Taiwan, which is an incredible artistic piece and an amazing story about the White Terror period in Taiwan. Absolutely beautiful. I've never seen a 360 so well told. And we had about 5 other projects that were exceptional. But we're trying to show excellence in all the different formats. So we have single-player experiences. Some have less agency and less interactivity. There's amazing animations. Some are incredibly interactive. Some will be classed as games. So we had the preview of Peaky Blinders by Maze Theory. So that's a very anticipated entertainment title that's supposedly coming out before Christmas. And then we had multiplayer, theatrical dance experiences where you can watch in headset or outside, where you have real life performers. We had a project that was about the history of Chanel No. 5, where you were in the experience. It was an incredible set that was built. It was a haptic experience, and there were smells and multi-sensory. It was a multi-sensory experience. And then we had our Worlds Gallery, where we, as you said, we had 32 VR chat worlds, where I feel the creativity I'm seeing on that platform is exceptional. There are all kinds of experiences, from escape room type games that take hours and hours to go through, music videos, incredible rave and club scene, and also we had 5 competition projects, so live performance projects, where the actors were actually not in Venice, they were online, but all of the people who were experiencing the VR Chat Worlds Gallery, because we had a whole massive section of headset set up.
Right, and how about augmented reality?
Oh, yeah, and I was going to go to that, because we showed 2 projects on Magic Leap in 2019, and as you said, these are enterprise devices, and they're incredibly difficult to show in an audience setting, in a public setting. You have a lot of problems with that, and the field of view is an issue. Beautiful, we had Tanandi, which was the first Magic Leap experience they developed with Sigur Rós, and we did a beautiful installation with it, and another project that was about, I've completely forgotten the name, which is terrible, by Gabor Aurora. It's about homelessness and eviction, which again was an installation. But it's been very difficult to find AR experiences that are immersive. I'm going to say the word immersive, because the issue with those devices before is the field of view is very small, so you have to play with the constraints, and it's quite difficult because so it means you have to design the world around you. If you're going to show something that's an entertainment experience generally,
yes,
that you can't see at home.
Right, right. But you can, because recently Disney has launched the first AR short film called Remembering Our Disney.
Well, I'm going to say the same. From that experience, again, I think that's, it's very nice, but it's kind of gimmicky. I'm going to say it's not a profound immersive experience. In the same way you could say, 3D TV or 3D cinema was kind of something, oh yeah, great, it comes out at you, but it's not something that's really adding to the storytelling or the world.
So you don't think augmented reality will transform entertainment and storytelling? You don't really
I do, but it's something you just mentioned. The social side is super important. And I was just at the end of a panel today about I think it was like about shamanic storytelling and AR. And the speaker said something really interesting in that AR is not interesting until you can be social within it. So I wanted to talk about a project that we showed that I think that won one of our awards called Eggscape that was made by the amazing Argentinian studio 3DAR. And it's a multiplayer game in Quest, and they're using color pass-through. So that's mixed reality. And it was incredible how the experience of moving from this world with other people, and there's a world-building tool, and there's a single-player tool when you're in the real world in the Quest. So it really gave me a look into where storytelling and gameplay is going to be with this project. And it was the first project we've had like this. And we look at a lot of projects from around the world, and it made me very excited about the possibilities of of mixed reality. But it is about the devices, and those devices have not come out. But you can, on the Quest, create mixed reality devices, experiences now.
Yes, and talking about AR, so Guillaume, because of course it's about storytelling, it's also about retail and about e-commerce, right? And do you see like e-commerce being and augmented reality being a good solution for that direction? And does Orange or another partner company develop this kind of solution?
Yes, absolutely. I do see augmented reality as a trigger to use cases related to virtual shopping. Virtual shopping is one of the use cases that we can imagine, but I think it's one of the most precise, I would say, in terms of usage. Because what we did with virtual shopping, it was in VR, but of course, if you do it with augmented reality application, it comes to a new experience. So what you do is to use something already existing, which is the mobile phone, which is massive. Again, 1.5 billion smartphones sold in the world. So you have the capacity to jump into your phone directly. So the device is already there. But I do agree with Liz on one aspect. It's about the fact that sometimes it's additional to existing content and existing experience. So it's not so new, let's say. So I think that the father of all that is the mixed reality. So the father is going to be of the children AR, and the other child, which is VR in that case, and it's going to be the mix. And the massive usage is going to be both in storytelling and, I would say, commercial usage on that, which is very important, because in the storytelling today, we can do many things in AR, of course, we can do also in VR, and I think VR is very impacting in terms of what you feel, because the experience that we did, for example, Evolver, you are merged inside your body, and you feel like a home traveling inside your breath and your system of blood and system respiration and so on, and you are like with yourself and with your creation. And we have wonderful creators on this experience, such as Edward Pressman, Terence Malick, Atlas 5, Marshmallow Laserfist, among the most creators. And the VR studios, very well known in the world, with many Academy Awards, I would say. And what we can do in creation is very deep in VR. But if we split the storytelling with the use case, such as commercial, such as, coming back to your question, to retail, yes, we do invest on companies such as that, and we are analyzing the market to see what is going to be the next traffic and the next usage in terms of shopping.
Right. And okay,
sorry,
please.
Maybe if I could add on something about augmented reality and mixed reality. So I think what we are describing is the interface level. So what we experience as audience. However, what in my personal experiences and opinion, the future is spatial computing, meaning behind mixed reality and augmented reality, we have real-time, real-world data that can be used for all kinds of use cases, including, of course, commercial use cases like shopping, or B2B use cases like training, or B2C, or let's say creative industry and entertainment industry, gamified social experiences, or compassion and storytelling, put your feet in the shoes of another person in real world to experience, to have this kind of multiple layers of use cases. So I'm very excited about the future. I guess in this panel we all are, right?
Yes, we are all, and all the audiences as well. And the time is flying. Let's reach our last part of this panel, talking a little bit about the impact of Web3 and tokenomics on those immersive experiences. Because many experts consider that a real metaverse should have a large use of blockchain and NFTs that crypto does. And of course, this concept of Web3 is a kind of a hero of decentralization, and having also the absence and of a monopolistic approach and giving back the power to the community. And regarding this Web3, Guillaume, you are the Web3 consultant in Orange. So what's your take on that, and what kind of Web3 projects are you working on for the Orange company?
So again, I will use the metaphor of the father. I would say that Web3 is the father of all the topics that we mentioned. So father of Metaverse, father of NFTs, father of digital assets, father of VR. And of course, we are working on that. I forgot the blockchain, of course. I mean, blockchain is the layer directly on that. We are working on it. Today, we see, to take the concrete use case of the metaverse and the usage, 2 blocks. Directly, you have Fortnite Roblox, which is massive. You have 55 million users daily, I think, in Roblox worldwide. And we have other decentralized sandbox metaverse, which are now very good, but not as massive as Web2 traditional, let's say, metaverse. Probably in the next 5 years, we will have an hybrid system with both of them, like, let's say, cohabitating together. But I think that there will be a merge of all these topics coming with the headset as well, with coming back to that. And of course, we will have experiences very different in terms of NFTs, in terms of assets, with, again, the security for our customers is very important. So what we need to build with maybe other telcos, for example, is a crypto wallet where you can share, or you can have crypto assets or digital assets. And again, something even more ambitious, I would say, is the gamification. Gamification is not from now, but it's something that is going to make the traffic higher. Because if you have a crypto asset, probably you have it. you just see your MetaMask or your wallet once a month or maybe once a week. But if you have a game, you can come back to a game. And you generate traffic, you generate use case, you generate community, which is even more important. And then with the community, you build the service.
Exactly, and Yingzi, you've been like organizing this Paris Metaverse Summit, where you gave a large part of Web3 and also crypto gaming, and you invited lots of play to earn game specialists. So, do you think this tendency that is currently in the Web3 space, where we see a lots of play to earn game developing and emerging, do you think this tendency, as just Guillaume said, will continue and adapt to the immersive experiences?
Yeah, for sure. So what I'm observing, the state of art is the convergence and emergence of different technology stacks that is around, let's say, Metaverse, which is the use case level, or Web3, which is the infrastructure level. So in Metaverse Summit, what we want to do is specifically trying to bring on board different technology experts and builders and investors together to build, how to collaborate. Because Web3 space is a space where you need to collaborate. Nobody can do every single segment and vertical perfectly. So nowadays, small startups with bigger groups, they're all trying to find the right tooling, services, and the collaborator to build the future. Regarding specifically gaming and interactive experiences, we can see like a traditional so-called gaming and entertainment companies, they are trying to leverage the new technology and assets to bring new experiences and value to their existing community and IP. And at the same time, the so-called maybe crypto crowd or blockchain crowd, they have all this imagine tokenomics or digital economy, they need to find use cases. So they need to find the entry point for the mass market. So they're like, okay, let's see who are the storyteller, create 3D assets and virtual world and experiences, and also the so-called play-to-earn model, which is early stage, the GameFi, that is kind of the early stage trials of bringing a little bit the tokenomics to the mass market. So both sides are making efforts to try to step forward towards a future. However, as of today, 2022, we are looking at not a perfect design, not a perfect UX. And sometimes in the metaverse, we have this empty world syndrome where you have the NFT or the assets, but we don't have people or population or use cases. However, a lot of builders are working on it, and Unreal Engine 5 is amazing as well. So this creator economy, I hope, is going to bring on board more and more toolings that are empowered by artificial intelligence, as we saw, like stable diffusion and all kinds of open source tooling to encourage the new kind of open creator economy that create a long tail effect of different diversity of content and storytelling and experiences, so that we can actually see the whole picture of the mass market adoption of Web3.
Very interesting. We discussed about that with Liz this morning, and because there was an example at the Biennale, there was a studio called XR Studio New Canvas that launched some NFT sellings in order to crowdfund and also to give some streaming revenue to the NFT holders regarding their film called Lustration that you selected in Venice. So do you have any tokenization process plan for one of your future projects or one of your future curation? And do you think that Web3 aspect would, as Guillaume said, the father of all of us, would help your international film festival organizations?
I want to know who the mother of Web3 is going to be as well. Yeah, I'll leave that to you.
Good. Yes.
Maybe I should answer that. So it's true, we were talking about this before, that very few creators and producers and studios in the XR space, especially the VR space I'm going to talk about, are using Web3 tools or are using the blockchain or using platforms to create revenue. And first, there are people who are incredibly anti Web3. There's a lot of bad PR press about it. And second is there aren't the use cases. And I think this is exactly true. And the thing that you mentioned about the spatial platforms that the XR community hangs out in are not blockchain-based. And so until we have platforms where there is a community and there is a market, it's going to be very difficult. And there's only a few platforms, for example, like Somnium is one of them, which is blockchain-based. And it's quite, there aren't that many people on Somnium at the moment. So it's quite hard until we get use cases to make the community understand. I mean, I'm personally super excited about decentralized financing and revenues. I think it's going to be amazing. It's just we don't have the interfaces, we don't have the technology, it isn't joined up. And also, I really feel we need to demystify what this means. And I've seen this for the 25 years I've worked in new media, that there are always a lot of acronyms that people don't understand. And there's a lot of people talking a lot of crap, I'm going to say, about all of this area. And we really need to speak in plain language about what this means. It's often bandied together, Web3, Metaverse, crypto, NFT. And these are all very, some of them are terms that Metaverse, Web3, we don't really know what they are yet, or we have to explain what we mean when we're talking about these terms to makers, to producers, and to the general public. And at the moment, we need some demystifying. I feel very strongly about that. And the other thing is we need good producers in this space. And a lot of the people I meet in the XR space are either creators or creative technologists, and they're not used to developing IP or creating business models. And that's something we also need to do, is to make sure we upskill the creative producers.
Thank you. And this is our last minute. We'll give the last words to Yingzi, maybe, like all this passion, what we have been discussing for yet 14 minutes. Do you think, Yingzi, and that's a question for all of you, do you think it will help us to feel, let's say, more citizen of the world?
Yeah, hopefully, yes. As an Asian creating Metaverse Summit in Paris, I would definitely say Web3 world is open-minded. We have such a diversity of profiles of entrepreneurs, builders, investors. Nobody actually asks for nationality sometimes. They're just like, where are you based? Because people are traveling and being digital nomad as well. So that is like the creator and builder level. So hopefully when we are creating product, we are also thinking about, you know, the whole world and including everybody. So let's do it. Let's make the future instead of thinking about what's going to happen.
Absolutely. Let's do it together. Thank you so much, Guillaume. Thank you so much, Yingzi. Thank you so much, Liz, for this amazing panel. I hope you enjoyed it as well. And I guess we are open to some questions at the moment. Thank you so much for attending and wishing you a great day.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
That's the end.
Hey, thank you very much for that. Shamanic storytelling in VR. I'm very excited about that. I'm looking forward to trying that myself. Thank you very much for your time. We're going to be back in a couple of minutes. We're going to move on to the next panel. Sorry, not the next panel. The next guest we have is going to talk with us on, and I'm going to read this one out as well. Stick with us for meta-surface-enabled smart glasses, physics that go beyond. And we all love going beyond. Thank you very much, Virgile and the team. Thank you.